committed to quality customer service. Book direct flights to Washington, D.C. at flyags.com. The Live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
Well, it's 4 o'clock. You know what that means. Time for showers and some thunderstorms. Live Viper 6 has plenty of them to track. I'll tell you where these storms are headed for our Friday night, what we can expect for the weekend, all coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 4, are there too many apartment complexes in the Garden City? That's what one local leader says, what he is proposing.
Plus, changes to alcohol laws have brewers in the Palmetto State raising their glasses. The boost to sales that has some business owners hopping for joy.
And the extreme heat not only affecting people and pets, but grass. What you can do to keep your lawn from drying out. It's Your News at 4 starts now.
That's what
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brad Means.
And I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thanks so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins with apartment complexes. You see them everywhere. They're going up fast across the CSRA.
I mean, everywhere. But some local leaders say the boom may need to take a break. Hannah Latier joining us live from downtown Augusta with the story. Hannah.
Thank you, Brad. Behind me is the Augustin, one of several apartment complexes currently being built by one developer in Richmond County. Local business owners we spoke to off camera think the new developments will be good for business. But Augusta Commissioner Wayne Guilfoyle tells us he wants to limit the construction of these complexes in every district except for downtown to increase the number of homeowners. Other commissioners and the developer think this type of housing is needed for the growth in the county.
So you've got increase in number of people for jobs. You've got a great amenity package for people down here who want to play in this market, and we're trying to provide housing for those people who want to live near where they play and work.
The Augustin is expected to be completed by the end of the year. We'll have other information on the other developments at WJBF.com. Live in Augusta, Hannah Latier, WJBF News Channel 6.
All right, Hannah, thanks for that report. Property value notices are hitting the mail today in Richmond County. These documents tell you how much your property is worth this year compared to last year and explain any changes you may notice. The appeal deadline is August 21st. You can do that on the tax assessor's website or pick up a form at their office.
Augusta leaders are working on next year's budget, which will include cuts in many departments. They're also trying to hire a new administrator. District 7 Commissioner Sean Frantum is our guest on the Means Report this week. We talked to him about those issues, as well as another concern that probably impacts all of us, and it is that traffic light at Alexander Drive and Riverwatch Parkway. Commissioner Frantum, you're aware of this. Give us an update.
Yeah, it's kind of a nonstop call I get. I mean, everybody's frustrated. They're probably laughing at home about it. So basically, it's a GDOT road. So we have to get GDOT approval on some of these things. We're also looking to put another single lane going across so that people going back towards Washington Road can get there quicker, because it backs up all the way to like Costco on that right-hand lane because everybody's taking a right going towards I-20.
Right.
So hopefully we'll have that changed pretty quickly, but it has been an issue that I get called on probably once a week, to be honest with you.
And Jenny and I were just talking. I mean, it lets like 3 cars go through max. Commissioners are also going to talk to us, Commissioner Frantum is, about those property valuation notices we just told you about going in the mail as we speak. And we'll look at what the future could hold for the James Brown Arena and hockey. Maybe. Watch the Means Report Monday afternoon at 12:30 right here on News Channel 6.
It is time now for a first look at the...
In just a few minutes, Jenny, Brad.
Tim, thanks. And as we continue these summer months, the temperatures are only getting hotter. What does this mean for your grass? News Channel 6's Graham Lee has more on how to give your lawn the best care and have a good-looking yard.
Well, it sure is hard to beat the Augusta summer heat, but now the question is how this impacts your own yard. Experts say that there are important things that you should know to give your lawn the help it needs. This may be the hottest part of the year, but it's also a great chance to keep your grass nice and green. Outside of the fertilizer and the equipment for maintaining it, Expert Campbell Vaughn says there are a few other things you should do on a regular basis.
Water deepen less often. Keep the height of your grass the correct size. The correct height, and and then soil test. And if you haven't soil tested in a long time, take a soil test. You can Google UGA soil test and take a YouTube video, something like that, and it'll show you how to do it.
Vaughn says as long as you stay consistent with watering and regular maintenance, you can have a beautiful and healthy yard to be proud of. In Augusta, Graham Lee, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Also, some things you want to think about to make sure your air conditioner survives the summer. Service technicians point to several reasons for problems with AC units: failing to clean filters, ignoring routine maintenance checks, not keeping a consistent temperature in your home. They also say make sure the area around the unit outside is clear from debris and other objects. Sorry about that video, but please try to heed that advice on your AC. The Department of Justice says there is reasonable cause to believe the state of South Carolina violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. And the DOJ says the state failed to prevent the unnecessary institutionalization of adults with serious mental illnesses. In a report released yesterday, the DOJ says the state paid for adults with disabilities to stay in adult care homes instead of working to support independent living. They placed much of the blame on a lack of community-based mental health services in South Carolina.
An update now to a story we brought you last week. The state of South Carolina has a new law that increases the limit on to-go orders for local breweries. Customers can now buy up to 3 cases or a keg of beer to take home. Here's Shakira Speaks.
A new law in South Carolina allows people to bring home their favorite beer from local breweries in larger quantities than before.
It gives us the ability to be able to sell sixels. Sixels are kegs that are a third the size of a regular keg, basically.
Before the law went into effect, breweries could only sell to-go beer not sold in the tap room up to 288 ounces. That's about a 24-pack of 12-ounce cans. Ryan Euler, the taproom manager at Replay Brewing in Fort Mill, says it limited what breweries could sell since nowadays businesses usually have 16-ounce cans. The law allows up to 864 ounces now.
For reference, Alabama is at 864 ounces per person per day. Florida, Louisiana, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, all are at unlimited amounts.
You can sell more cases to people. That makes the people more happy. It helps the business out. And again, you can also start selling kegs now.
It's not the keg you're thinking of, though. This one is slightly smaller. Patrons can take 3 of these home. The National Brewers Association estimates that the craft brewery industry has an $861 million yearly economic impact in South Carolina.
Looking at our statistics, sales-wise, we actually are selling more to-go beer, and that has something to do with us pushing it because of this law change. But I think people are just more willing to go out and say no, they can get more.
Euler says the brewery's total beer sales have increased 2 or 3% over the last few months, and with the new law, it's projected to increase even more.
You go 15 minutes up the street, you're in North Carolina, you can do it there. So if people want to get stuff, we're losing business to North Carolina businesses. I think doing this will help South Carolina in general, just because people aren't crossing the border to do that kind of thing anymore.
Early childhood education is getting financial support in Augusta. U.S. Senator John Ossoff announced nearly $15 million for CSRA EOA Head Start programs. These education programs support children's growth from birth to age 5. Head Start programs are set up in 12 Georgia counties, 9 of those here in the CSRA. Senator Ossoff released a statement saying in part that every child in Georgia deserves a safe, healthy, and happy preschool education. Head Start, of course, is getting the little ones ready for school and one day. And speaking of school, it can be tough to find affordable school supplies, especially in today's economy. Local nonprofits, including the United Way, are helping children and families with their school year supplies. Stuff the Bus returns to the CSRA for its annual school supply drive. The United Way partnering with local companies, organizations, and stores to host drop-off locations. Event leaders say this year supplies are in high demand at an even higher cost. There are other local back-to-school events throughout the month of July. We have a list of those on our website, WJBF.com. Another toasty one out there today. But we're not just dealing with the heat.
No, Tim Miller tracking the latest on some potential storm chances. That's coming up in about 5 minutes right here.
$2.99 strawberry shortcake snowball slush float. Sonic.
Welcome back, everyone. A tragic story out of North Lakeland, Florida, where a toddler was left in a hot car and died. The sheriff there says the car could have reached as high as 170 degrees.
He also says it all comes down to negligence and drug use. Brittany Muller has the story.
Sheriff Grady Judd says Joel and Jasmine Rondon left a 4th of July party with their 3 kids to return to their Winchester Estates home in North Lakeland at 2 a.m. Jasmine told Joel to bring their 18-month-old girl inside while she put the 2 older kids to bed. It wasn't until 11 a.m. when Joel began looking for the baby. She was found inside the car in the direct sun.
She's certainly old enough to realize that she is suffering a torturous death at the negligence of Joel and Jasmine.
Sheriff Judd says the heat index that day, 105 degrees. The baby was unresponsive and was rushed to the hospital.
After the life-saving measures, after the body being cooled down, the baby still had a core temperature of 104.4 degrees.
Kids in Car Safety says there have been 5 young kids in Florida that have died in hot cars this year.
A little child just doesn't stand a chance inside of a vehicle, which acts like a greenhouse, heats up very quickly to deadly temperatures that can affect a child within minutes.
Director Amber Rollins says a child's body temperature rises 3 to 5 times faster than an adult. She says in some cases like this, there's miscommunication.
In almost every single case where a child is unknowingly left, there's some type of change in that normal family routine that contributes to that child being left behind.
Sheriff Judd says this death was not an accident 17 hours after arriving home from the party. Authorities say Jasmine and Joel both tested positive for alcohol and marijuana. Joel also had meth in his system. The Rondons are now both facing felony charges of aggravated manslaughter. They have 2 older children, a 6 and an 8-year-old, who are both in the care of other relatives. DCF is now involved.
I'm attorney Jamie Cassini.
That's your forecast.
Thanks a lot, Tim. We appreciate it. Coming up, how a man tricks his wife into dinner from his favorite restaurant.
His unique way to get his way. Coming up next.
Kelly and Mark. Every weekday morning.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Channel 6.
A man named Joel Willis requested the help of his favorite restaurant to trick his wife. He sent out a tweet saying, "I want to get takeout tonight, but my wife doesn't like Chipotle. Can you please tweet that today is National Burrito Takeout Day or something? Thanks."
Yeah, then he followed it up with, "Her name is Laura, if you like to personalize it." So Chipotle did just that. And when Joel asked his wife, "Hey, you making salmon tonight?" she responded, "Nah, it's National Laura Eats Chipotle Day." And they went. Not bad. Pretty good trick there by the old hubby. There is more coverage you can count on coming up next on News Channel 6 at 4:30.
Including the possibility of a UPS strike getting closer. Why some say negotiations have gone stale.